Hello and welcome back to Misty Mountain Streaming. How is everybody doing this Friday? I am the Thedndwannabe, my name is Rob, and we are back choosing our own adventure once again. Hey Sheepy, how are you doing? Sorry I'm behind the times on your posts. Hello Eric. We are going to be playing D&D soon, you and I. Welcome, welcome. So, if anyone is watching this and you missed last Friday's stream, I have had on my phone for the longest time, wonderful Billy Joel song, a D&D style adventure, choose your own adventure kind of game, and I have played much of it, not quite all of it. And I think they're still making more of it, as a matter of fact. So, but it's been a long time, so I'm re-experiencing this, and I'm narrating this, I'm doing the voices, and occasionally sound effects, but I am making no decisions in this Choose Your Own Adventure game. The chat is voting on every possible decision. They are trying to keep us alive, they are trying to keep us wealthy, and trying to earn us little points. We do get a grade at the end of each chapter, and man, has this chapter been going on for a while. We did 2 hours in the same chapter, so we're going to try and accelerate things a little bit this evening and see how things get on. Let's see. Good news for Eric's thing. Glad to hear that, man. If you don't know what Eric's thing is, I shan't be the one to tell you. I do need to update that sub goal in the corner there. Give me just a second. That screen is going to go black every time my phone goes to sleep, guys. Just get used to that. It won't happen when we get going anymore. Let's see. This is... Yep, that one. So we do have a new subscriber goal because people keep blowing my old subscriber goals out of the water. It is now for an exclusive set of metal dice. It was a sample that we picked up but never actually mass produced. So if we get to 525 subscribers by next Wednesday. We are calling it a little early for the month, next Wednesday, because I don't know if I'll be in a position to stream on Friday. And we will get these, which way? Haha. These silver and blue big old bad boys. They are slightly oversized, not quite to the size of the Paladin dice, if you know our dice line. But they have little weapons on every die, and every die is different. Let's see if I can get... Focus. There we go. See, that's got an axe and a sword beneath the 7. The D10 has a long bow going or a short bow going through it. The D4 has daggers. The D6 has claws and teeth. It is wild. I like this one. I'm not giving away my last set of these because I want to keep some for myself. And these are mine. These aren't from Misty Mountain Gaming. I bought these off the company because I saw them laying around the warehouse. Like, unique. I will want those later, and I sure did. So here we are. So, the drawing for that, as well as a leather journal, although yours will be black and have Yggdrasil on it instead of Mjolnir. For Tyler / Cheesecake Panda's custom Mimic dice box for the Obsidian Fangs of Winter set of dice. That set of dice for the dragon set of dice, the hollow caged dragon set that people might have seen on TikTok. All of these things we are drawing and giving away next Wednesday. Monday, of course, coming up is going to be our charity stream benefiting WRAP and the continuation of our new Dungeons & Dragons adventure, Bleakhaven: A Broken Heart. We're 3 sessions in. There's not a lot of catch-up if you need to play some. Or if you need to go catch up, there's not a lot of catching up to do. And it's pretty good so far. It's a good group. We're telling a fun story. So, let's see who we got today. All right. If you are in the chat, I encourage you to vote. Otherwise, I'm going to be somewhat directionless as to what to do. So I will be running polls every time we hit a question. And you just reply to that poll with whatever you think we should do. I will be putting in a 1, 2, 3, 4, however many options we have. And just choose the appropriate one to advance the story. So without much further delay, why don't we get started? Now, to recap a little bit, if you missed last Friday, we are a wizard. We don't have a name, or we do have a name, but we don't know it yet. We've been adventuring with our friend Reginald. Reginald is a fighter, best we can tell, good with a bow, even better with a sword, and we took refuge in an old ruin from some goblins. While we're in there, we rescued the daughter of a merchant, fought some cultists, charmed an ogre momentarily, and accidentally freed a demon of some kind. Oops. So, yeah. Hey, James is here! How's it going, buddy? I got my little palm tree shirt on. You enjoy that. By the way, let me know if the music is too loud or too quiet or how all the audio is coming through. I'm always so paranoid about that. So let's get back into it. You wait until Reginald begins snoring before you pull your spellbook out of your backpack. Reginald hates it when you study magic while you're supposed to be keeping watch, but you need something to distract you from the cold. With flint and tinder, you light a single candle to read by. The arcane text that you have read 1,000 times over, but differently each pass through, provides a sort of familiar comfort, a comfort you are grateful for in this dark forest. Soon you are lost in study. After some time, you can never keep track of time when immersed in magical lore, you exclaim, "Yes!" "Danger!" Reginald rolls over, his eyes slits. He is only half awake. "I understand invisibility. I can turn invisible, at last! The spell has eluded me for so long. At least, well, I think I understand." You say as you point down at the arcane symbols in your book. "Go to sleep." Reginald slurs, and then his head falls back to the ground. "This is goblin country, and I am on watch. I dare not sleep," you say, but Reginald does not hear you. He is snoring again. It turns out that you are not so vigilant after all. At some point, as you gaze at the candle flame, you fall asleep. "Awaken! Someone is near." Reginald whispers as he shakes you. You sit up groggily. It is still dark. At first all you hear is an owl hooting. Then, sure enough, voices trickle in through the trees. Not goblins. Those are human voices, you think. "They approach on the trail," Kiva says, huddling her blanket. "To the trail, then. But keep quiet," says Reginald. "And no lantern," you whisper. "We go slow. Moonlight will have to be enough." "Why? Will they not stay still and let them... Why not stay still and let them pass?" asks Kiva. "Because we're adventurers," you whisper fiercely as you gather your backpack. Refusing to be left by herself, Kiva follows as you creep up to the edge of the trail. Thank the gods she is not sniffling or otherwise making a racket. You have just taken up your position in the brush when you see the first of a column of priests of Nerul, visible in the light of their torches and the moonlight. Several of them are speaking casually, loudly even, as though they and not the goblins owned this part of the woods. As they pass by, you see in the middle of the large column a large stretcher, Made of thick wooden branches and rough-spun fabric, it is carried by 8 priests. Upon the stretcher is a pure white horse whose legs are bound with rope. Not a horse, but a unicorn. You have not seen one before, but the long horn is a dead giveaway. We're real smart. Walking in front of the stretcher is a tall man and a woman. The man holds a torch, and in this lantern light you can clearly make out the woman's features. You know the young woman. Or, to be precise, you know of her. She is the beautiful Lady Igraine, daughter of Lord Igraine. Her father holds a keep and an estate some distance from town, and her family comes to Ring City for annual tournaments. More than once you have gazed wistfully at her from the cheap seats far in the corner of the jousting area. Needless to say, it's a bit disappointing to see that she appears to be an Erulean priestess. And the man with her, you wonder. After a moment, you recognize him as her father, Lord Igraine. To think a man of such an illustrious line would get mixed up with this evil lot. Anyway, back to Lady Igraine. Her jet-black hair is pulled back to reveal a most shapely, long neck. Her flawless skin glows in the torchlight. The golden, unholy symbol of Nerul hanging over her bosom contrasts nicely with her large brown eyes. There's a little image for y'all. Carrie really likes my shirt. Thank you, Carrie. We cannot go back there. Not yet, Lord Igraine is saying.
Why would we go back ever? That ruin offers no decent bath,
Lady Igraine replies. There is some unfinished business. However, it can wait, Lord Igraine says as he absently pats the pocket of his immense, fur-lined overcoat. The old one will move on from Castle Inverness to seek the living. Let us hope he does not exact revenge upon us. After the column has passed out of earshot, Reginald sighs. A unicorn, was it not? Where did they find such a creature? And what do they plan to do with it? You ask. I wager they do not plan to simply feed her apples and comb her mane, Reginald replies. Her? It is a lady unicorn. You ask. Oh, I did not look in that, decisive region. Reginald blushes.
Such craven and pathetic simpletons.
Kiva seethes as she glares after the column of priests disappearing around the bend.
I propose we tie each of them down and cut off one finger at a time. We will bind their wounds to ensure they do not lose too much blood and fall unconscious, and then I will take their eyelids and...
I do not think all that will be necessary, you interrupt. Perhaps 24 of them. I do not think we will have time for, all that... work. You and Reginald exchange perplexed looks. Then Reginald whispers in your ear. Young maidens love unicorns. Kiva regards the two of you with hard eyes.
We should attack them now, and make them pay for their transgressions.
There are too many, Reginald protests, even with the element of surprise.
I thought you said you were adventurers,
Kiva interrupts. Adventurers, not idiots, Reginald replies, his pride clearly hurt. There are only 3 of us. Is this Reginald? Nope, that's me.
There are only 3 of us, and they are slowed by their burden. We could cut through the woods and get ahead of them. We shall ambush them as they come by.
Or we could follow them from a distance and learn more about our quarry. Perhaps strike at a more opportune time. Reginald says.
And perhaps they will notice us following them, or perhaps they're journeying some vile fortification that we cannot hope to storm. I say we ambush them now, while they're in the open.
Kiva says. But what do you say? Alright, guys, time for the first poll of the stream. We're going to try and do these pretty quickly. Let's just do our normal, good old what do question. Option 1, Option 2. Option 1 says we ambush them, cut through the woods, hit them where it hurts, or we could tail them and get more intel. Let's see. Delving into fantasy, romance, novella territory. Yeah, that was the end of last stream for sure. We were a cad, I believe it called us. Ah, hey Sarah, how's it going? We're wondering if we should follow or ambush some priests of Nerul. If you weren't here last week, Nerul is the bad god that the bad people worship. We don't like him or the people that like him. Let's see. That poll is at the top of the chat, my friends. I've got, so far, a unanimous vote for following them. Ha, nobody wants to do what Kiva wants to do. Alright. We're going to go ahead and close that poll, since that was a unanimous vote, and we're going to follow them. Why is our once demure, frightened merchant's daughter suddenly wishing to play the role of a bloodthirsty battle tactician? You wonder. Oh, hey, Dancer! How's it going, bud? Should I keep calling you Dancer? I don't know. Let me know in the chat what I should be calling you from now on.
Dear Kiva, we will mete out justice to these villains for the death of your father, among other countless evil deeds in due time. You are not trained in the art of war as Reginald and I are. Even if we set a successful ambush, their numbers are simply too great for 2 men. There are 3 of us,
Kiva says fiercely as she thrusts out her palm.
A blade for me? Certainly adventurers have more weapons than they need.
Reginald shrugs, unbuckles a dagger belt, and hands it to her. Even if they scurry off to a fortification of some kind, we will take them. I have the trust of the captain of the guards of Ring City. He will not suffer evil so close, says Reginald. The 3 of you set off after the priest while keeping a good distance away, out of sight most of the time. Luckily, their party is so noisy that tracking them is trivial. After half an hour or so, your quarry leaves the trail and hikes over a field. You now have to follow a bit closer in order not to lose them. Soon, they stop on a hill with a large slab of granite at the top. They set the unicorn down on this slab and surround it. You stop in the foliage of the tree line beside the field and watch. The sky is beginning to lighten with the coming sun. There's our little scene there. Hey, Sprinkle. How's it going, friend? They begin chanting. The chant is an infernal, but you can only make out a few words from here. They are chanting a prayer, you think. Something about forgiveness. I am no Nerulian priest, but I do not think this bodes well for the unicorn, says Reginald.
They mean to sacrifice him.
The unicorn is a him? Reginald asks.
Yes, I observed his... when they carried him by our hiding spot.
Kiva responds.
Irrelevant,
You say in exasperation.
Our enemies stand in the open and on high ground. We cannot approach unnoticed. Allow me to lure them to you, or to the forest edge. I shall play the part of the frightened, lost girl. They'll be overjoyed to recapture what they lost. You can attack them from your hiding places,
says Kiva. No, my lady, they may harm you, says Reginald.
I will disembowel them,
she says, brandishing the dagger Reginald lent her. I understand your anger for what they did to your father, but do not die a fool, says Reginald.
A fool, am I?
Kiva asks. Her face is such a visage of malice that you and Reginald both take a step back. Reginald stutters.
Perhaps stealth would serve us better,
you interject.
I might turn invisible, creep into their midst, and cut the unicorn free.
My friend, surely your powers are best spent spewing forth gouts of deadly fire, not sneaking about like a rat. Fire and steel, simple and effective, says Reginald. What do you do? Another choice, everyone. Another choice. We're going to start a new poll. Our good old poll of what do? Options 1, 2, and 3. If you would like to vote on the poll, go to the top of the chat. And if you would like to use Fire and Steel, as Reginald suggested, it's going to cost us 6 of our 9 mana. But you will vote option 1. If you want to turn invisible and skulk about, 4 mana, we have 9. Option 2. Or we can use Kiva as bait. Option 3. Thank you, by the way, to Spider-Man Love, who followed us a couple of days ago. Welcome to the family. Glad you're here. Who has been saying things in the chat here? Sprinkle the Lich King says, Reginald, they have the high ground. Which they do. Hello, Dabs. How's it going, man? Glad you could join us. Vote on a thing. Choose our own adventure. Can't use Reginald as bait. No, Reginald, sadly, is too smart to want to be used as bait. Alright, let's see what this poll do say here. Ooh, it's close. Currently, more people wanting to go invisible, though. So far, 5 is as many people as have voted on anything. So I'm going to go with that being as many people as are wanting to vote. So we're going to end that poll, and we're going to turn invisible. Five mana left, guys. By the way, look how rich we are. 240 gold. Y'all were so greedy last stream. I mean, it worked out. If we survive, it was the right call. Quickly, you cast your spell and creep up the hill. The evil priests are bunched together closely in a circle around the slab of granite, so you have to take care. It is critical that you do not touch anyone, because that would break your invisibility illusion. Your spellbook is very explicit about this point. Pass, not even like a breeze, for even the wind is felt by man. Become nothing, and nothing will know you. You recall the spell instructions saying, one priest shifts to one side, and you have enough room to pass without so much as brushing their long sleeves. Although you have avoided touching anyone, you cannot help making some measure of noise with your footfalls. Fortunately, their chanting deafens them to your passage. Now that you have passed into their inner circle, you can make out their words in the infernal language. We praise you, Ancient One. You are free. Servants, servants, slaves to your will. We ask not for mercy. We ask only to serve. Over and over they repeat this. One of the hooded men looks familiar. Belfour, the farmer. He comes to the Ring City to sell his apples every harvest. You know him because he always gets drunk and makes trouble. The guards have learned to keep an eye on him when he has coin in his pocket. You would never have imagined he was mixed up with dark powers, though. A few others look familiar too, although you can't place them. They must be locals of Ring City. You are now near the unicorn, and you have your dagger out. You have a couple of options. You could simply cut the unicorn free and start the fight, or you could try to scare the priests first. What do you do? There's a Hot Fuzz reference, Dancer. It's all for the greater good.
The greater good.
Love that movie. Alright, guys. You know the drill. What do? 1 and 2. Boom. Option 1. Use an illusion. Doesn't say of what. Last time we got to pick after we picked. But this time it's giving us the mana cost ahead of time. Is that normal? Am I too used to Rogue's choice? We'll see. Or we can try and cut him loose while everyone's paying attention. See what happens. Wonder if unicorns in this game are good in a fight. They're supposed to be like badasses in the Chronicles of Narnia. What is the boost survival stats? We're not worried about it. We don't need it. This game can be accomplished without. It's a thing where you can boost up the numbers at the top of the screen by expending luck, which is something you earn as you play or can purchase. And I'm not about purchasing. Yes, I am denying you the ability to level. Have you not watched my streams? Alright. Looks like the majority is in favor of going ahead and cutting the sucker loose. So that's what we're gonna do. Good luck us. Save that precious 5 mana. Who knows when we will need it. Ooh. That red text at the top. Let me see if I can adjust this. Yeah. Hang on. There we go. Why waste my power on illusions when I have a real unicorn set loose? You think. You hope the unicorn is fiercer than he looks. The unicorn is still tied to the stretcher and his hooves are tied together. He is struggling to free himself, and so cutting his hooves free will be a little tricky. Nevertheless, you decide to cut the hooves free first, since the stretcher ropes are at least keeping the unicorn somewhat stationary. After that, you plan to cut the ropes binding him down. The first pair of hooves goes smoothly. Your sharp dagger slices through the rope without touching the hooves. Unfortunately, the unicorn's sudden relative freedom excites him into a renewed frenzy. You get the other hooves free, but your blade and hand touch the creature's leg in the process. The chanting stops, and there are gasps from the crowd around you. I'm visible, you realize. One priest is standing nearby with an unsheathed dagger, a sacrificial dagger, you presume. He lunges at you. The two of you stab each other at the same time. He stabs you in the stomach, and you stab him in the throat. As the priest falls to the ground, choking on his own blood, you slash at the remaining bonds holding the unicorn down. The creature looks at you and says, "Thank you, good sir." Then he is free and he leaps up. "You will pay for your iniquities," he announces to the others. They can't all sound serious, guys. Heard again. You nearly shout in surprise. You've never seen a horse talk. His horsey lips do not move about like a human's. Rather, his mouth simply opens and the words spill out. One of the priests glares at you and begins chanting a spell. Fortunately, the unicorn gores him before he finishes. You feel a sharp pain in your shoulder. Just behind you is a Nerulian priest, his face contorted into a murderous sneer. He pulls his dagger back for another strike. The unicorn kicks his hind legs into your attacker's ribs, sending him through the air. Unicorns are rather useful, you think. "Kill the beast!" shouts Lord Igraine from amidst the other priests. Spells are cast, and the air fills with hissing, dark bolts of energy. You duck behind the stone as one sizzles above you. Peeking over the stone, you see several dark bolts strike the unicorn, and it whinnies in pain. Most of the remaining priests are so focused on the unicorn that they don't even notice Reginald joining the rear of their fray, swinging his sword with a grim smile on his face. Somehow, they are oblivious to the butchery behind them.
"In Nerul's name, die!"
The Lady Igraine shouts as she summons a circle of fire between her raised palms. The unicorn rears, his eyes wide. Oop, stay still. There we go. There's a unicorn rearing with eyes wide. Hawk says, "Sorry, folks, the sacrificial ritual is closed. Unicorn in the center should have told you." Yeah. It's going far better than the unicorn fight in Witchlight. Yeah. Some similarities there, too.
"No!"
You shout as Lady Igraine sends forth a crackling ray into the side of the unicorn's head. The magnificent horse crashes to the ground. "Behind! Behind!" someone shouts. Now the priests turn their attention to Reginald. He cannot stand against so many. You charge, dagger in hand, shouting like a madman. With you striking from one side and Reginald on the other, the remnants of the priests scatter. In a flurry of stabs, you cut down a final one before he reaches the woods. As shadow falls across your path, you whirl about. A shadow falls across your path. It's Kiba. Her ragged dress is blotched with blood, and the dagger Reginald lent her drips with the gore of a fresh kill. She has a manic smile on her face.
"Revenge! Revenge for my captivity!"
she exclaims, and then runs off, presumably to hunt down more fleeing priests. You are considering joining her when you catch a glimpse of Lady Igraine's long, beautiful hair disappearing into the forest below. You rush into the woods to investigate. Sitting propped against a fallen log only a few meters away is Lord Igraine. His glassy, lifeless eyes stare down at his entrails, spilling out upon his lap. There are symbols drawn in blood on the large stones nearby. Kneeling beside him is the Lady Igraine. She is searching his pockets.
"Where is it?"
She shouts at her father, and then slaps his face. "Where is what?" you ask as you take a step closer. She looks up at you with surprise, and then she smiles.
"Gods be praised. You saved me from my cursed father and his minions,
she exclaims. Saved you from them? You are a priestess of death, are you not? You ask. You have fantasized about approaching Lady Igraine more times than you can count, but you never expected your first words would be these.
No, I was but a slave to my father,
she says, her face contorted in rage. Then she smiles down at the mangled corpse next to her.
Now he is gone, and I am free. But we must not dally here. Unruh, a monster from another world, stalks nearby.
She points at one of the blood symbols scrawled on a nearby rock. The symbol is an infernal. You look back to see Reginald chasing and hacking priests in the grassy field beyond.
Perhaps with the help of good people, I may find again the light of this world.
Lady Igraine extends a hand out to you and says,
Quickly, gather your friends and follow me.
What do you do? Well, she looks nice, doesn't she? Actually, her face doesn't really, she looks a lot younger from the neck up than I thought. Let's see. You know the drill, guys. Oh, that's not managing polls. That's managing goals. Let's start a new poll, not goal. What do options 1, 2, 3, and 4? Option 1, turn to gather your friends. I like gathering friends. I don't know about turning our back on Lady Igraine. Demand her surrender. You mean you wish to surrender to me? Very well, I accept. You could just straight up attack her, or magically charm her. I'm assuming it's magically charm her since it costs mana. Non-magical charms, not our strong suit. We remember the camp last night, I assume. Hey, Rob is here. What's going on, Rob? It is hot, you say. I believe it. Yeah, I also thought older. It's a nice dress, though. Alright, how goes that there poll? Oh, it's an even split. If you haven't voted yet, guys, your vote could be the deciding factor. Hey, wait, Grim is here? Hey, Grim. What's going on, buddy? Alright, if y'all can't decide, I will roll a die and we will find out. But if you are listening and you have not voted, make your voice heard. We'll give you another second or two while I fish out a d20. It is currently between demanding her surrender and straight up ganking her. Getting ready for work? I hope you have a good night, man. Hope it's a good shift. Walking around out there in the dark. So this is a set of dice, very much like the ones we're giving away. This is just copper and blue. This one is for me. I've given away almost all the others to one cause or person or another. So we're closing the poll. We're going to roll. Low is demanding her surrender. High is attacking her. That's low, so we're going to demand her surrender. Life decreases by 2. Love to see it. Love to see it.
My lady, although your beauty makes my heart ache, I must demand your surrender.
I will take you to Ring City, where your innocence can be proven. You unsling your backpack to fetch your rope to bind her. Lady Igraine's smile washes away.
By Nerul's hand, die!
She shouts. A dark ray of hissing energy shoots from her fingertips. You shield yourself with your backpack, but the ray penetrates through, striking your arm. You feel cold. Use dark magic on me? She is evil, you think. You throw your backpack aside and rush at her with your dagger. Her long throat is an easy target for your blade, and you slash it open with one stroke. Well, I think your son had the right idea, Hawk. It's nice to give them a chance, right? That's what heroes do, but we wound up stabbing her in the end anyway. What a grisly and sad ending for the two of us, you think, looking down at Lady Igraine. Of course, there had never been a two of you, but your dreams were real enough. Sighing, you wonder. She had been looking for something of her father's. What was it? Just then, Reginald runs up to you, breathing hard. The priests mean to regroup. I hear them calling for one another in the wood. We best move on. He looks down at Lady Igraine. Is that? Yes, it is she. You reply. We may need a drink tonight, Reginald says. You nod and then point to Kiva, who is now running around the grassy hill, crying and tripping as though in a panic. Aye, Reginald shakes his head. Only moments ago she was dashing about this field wielding that dagger of mine like a bloodthirsty assassin. Now who is she? Is this the way of women? You shrug and jog out onto the grass. As you take Kiva by the wrist, to try and calm her, Reginald announces that he will search just a few bodies before fleeing. No use in letting the vultures swallow our treasure, he says cheerfully. It's not safe to stay put in the open. We must not dally, you warn your friend, ignoring Kiva's attempts to pull away from your grasp. Just then, the unicorn stands up. His legs are shaking, and his eyes are bulging. You thought he was dead. No! Not this! The creature bellows. He pauses for a moment and then screams triumphantly. The world is mine! Upon uttering this pronouncement, the unicorn gallops towards the granite slab and then proceeds to bash his own head into it. You hear the horn snap with a crack. Blood spatters over the white rock as the creature batters his skull over and over. Gods, why? No! Reginald stammers. Kiva commences screaming with renewed vigor. After a few seconds of this self-mutilation, the unicorn, with its jagged stub of a horn, turns and charges down the hill towards you. All three of you shout as you run with abandon. When you reach the woods, you look back to see the unicorn thrashing on the grass, screeching in an unearthly tone. Evil magic, Reginald says. You stare in horror and realize that this magic is beyond your understanding. Motioning for the others to follow you, you say, We have pressed good fortune long enough. Let us return to Ring City in the company of good people. The three of you set off toward Ring City, your beloved home. You and Reginald are grateful to have some company for the lengthy walk. The two of you have long since exhausted your trove of stories and can nearly predict what each other will say. Kiva, on the other hand, is full of stories of faraway places, creatures, and magic you've never heard before. A merchant's daughter must really get around. As it turns out, Kiva's family has recently moved to Ring City, and her brother Jordan tends the candle shop there. Nevertheless, she bombards you with questions about the city. She seems to want to know everything, from who's who in the noble families down to the local gossip. The time passes quickly. By nightfall, the tall gates of the city rise above you. The guards, typically a suspicious lot, usher the three of you in without hesitation. They have known you and Reginald for years. Reginald was once even a member of the guard. Once inside, you immediately head to your loft. There you rest and apply healing ointments to your wounds. You hide the majority of your loot under your floorboards. By the following evening, you are refreshed and feel stronger and more powerful than ever. You toss a handful of gold coins into your money pouch and meet up with Kiva and Reginald at the Leering Virgin Inn for some much-deserved celebration. Look at 'em. They're having fun. Some big smiles from people who didn't just lose their family and see a unicorn self-mutilate. The three of you feast and drink and tell stories, exaggerated of course, to the inn regulars and otherwise thoroughly enjoy yourselves.
There is no justice, there is no law, there is only power.
You quote from the first page of the book bound in human skin that you lifted from the sacrificial altar in Inverness Castle. Sounds just like what a zombie-raising no-good Gorgon's ass would write. Reginald says with slurred speech. Hey, I nailed the slurred speech quite by accident. The three of you are alone at a table in a corner of the inn, as all the other patrons have grown bored of your boasting and tall tales and have gone to bed. You page through the book.
Huh, what's this?
You exclaim.
This speaks of the Baroness Ireland, lying with Sir Roger of Chesterford. Evil gossip, no more,
Kiva says, then takes a swig of wine.
Well, the account seems rather detailed.
You read further.
And, oh, Guildmaster Franz Pacals has been skimming gold from the mint, melting the coins down and recasting them with more copper.
Aha! I thought the coins from the money changer were light. Reginald begins rummaging through his pockets.
What is that? A book of dirty secrets?
Kiba asks, pointing at the book accusingly.
I rather think it is. Why, this silly little book might be worth more than the rest of our loot put together,
you say. And you think that the Lady Igraine might have been looking for that book? Says Reginald. He casts his eyes down to the table. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to bring her to mind. You put your hand to reassure your friend. You put your hand up to reassure your friend.
It is well that I learn to not judge a woman by her face,
you say, doing your best to give a convincing shrug.
I had heard House Igraine had fallen on hard times. Desperation leads to an evil path, does it not?
Reginald nods vigorously, sloshing his drink. The glass-eyed expressions of your friends' faces, the last thing you see before you black out. When you regain awareness, you are standing over a bed, shouting.
No! Reginald! You can't die! Please!
You are pushing down on Reginald's neck, attempting to stem the flow of blood. It is no use. He is deathly still on the blood-soaked bed. And there is no pulse.
Gods! No!
You shout and run from the room. You are now in what you recognize as the hallway of the Leering Virgin Inn. You shout for help and look back at him helplessly. From here you can see bloody finger painting on the wall around Reginald, runes in Infernal that appear to be some sort of spell used to harvest power from a soul. There are footsteps from behind, and you turn to see a city guard and an old man approaching.
"Seize that one!"
The old man croaks as he points at you.
"He is the murderer!"
To be continued. Dear reader, here's a map of the area, your recent adventure. Don't expect much accuracy. Medieval cartographers did not sweat the details. Also, you can see a more complete map of the Ring City and the surrounding area at any time by selecting maps from the main menu, which we probably will not do. There is a great deal more adventure ahead, but first go see the stats on your first chapter. So, that's the end of chapter 1. Hey, it only took us, what, 3 hours? Aha! Right. Rob takes offense at my voice. It's okay. It's not the first time. Let's see how we did. I don't know if y'all heard that, but I did. I think I have it muted. There was some fanfare. We survived to the end of Wizard's Choice 1, and we got 2 luck points. And we got the highest rank for Wizard's Choice 1. Well done, the chat. Well done. Also more luck. We finished any volume without ever dying. Hey, we're doing great. We are nailing this. We have achieved 21% of the points possible in the Wizard's Choice series. Which there are 5 installments? So this one's a little front-loaded. Progress. Still a toddler mashing buttons could do this much. What? Alright. Well played in only a few hours. Tales of your deeds have spread throughout Ring City. Your total score is 1120, earning us the reputation of Loaded with Coin, Slayer of Evil. Which is as high as we could do. We could have been a wetter of trousers. That's an aspirational goal. That morale bonus was big. Alright, well done, guys. Well done. We are not even halfway through our stream time, so I reckon we're going to keep going and see how the story continues. We lost Reginald, and we killed him, according to some old man that we don't know. Oh, theories, by the way. What was going on with the Unicorn? What was going on with Kiva? What was going on with everything? I'd love to know your thoughts. I'll read to you while you type them out for me. Seems like a good trade. Oh, good. We get a recap. So, if you didn't get the first one, didn't make it for the first stream, here we go. You and your longtime warrior friend Reginald have recently returned to Ring City to rest and celebrate after a successful raid on the ruin of Castle Inverness. During your adventure, you rescue a young merchant's daughter by the name of Kiva, who had been kidnapped by a band of evil priests. I still have no idea if that's how you say Kiva, but Dabs told me Kiva, so we're sticking with Kiva. Once inside, you rest. Apply healing ointments to your wounds and hide the majority of your loot under the floorboards of your loft. By the following evening, you are refreshed and feel stronger and more powerful than ever. Oh, this is just basically the last page. Alright, so...
He is the murderer.
Me? I could never. You sputter. The old man speaks with conviction. Either he believes what he is saying, or he is an excellent liar. To top it off, there you stand with blood on your hands. This does not look good, you think. The guard locks his eyes on you and unsheathes his sword. What do you do? Alright, guys. First one of the new chapter. New poll. What do? 1, 2, or 3? Option 1. We run. That's what innocent people do. Option 2. Charm the guard. You notice we have all of our life back, all of our mana back, and a smidge of our former gold. Or we could defend our innocence and protest. Oh, good night, Grim. Wow. I was not expecting mana use immediately, but most everyone's saying to... Wow, very much everyone is saying to charm that guard. Let's give it a go, shall we?
Gods know I am innocent.
You say as you wave a hand at the guard. You feel a warm tingling travel up your arm and out the end of your outstretched finger. The guard smiles broadly as the spell takes hold of his mind.
It is well to see an old friend,
He exclaims. The guard rushes up and clasps you in his arms.
He is a murderer.
The old man croaks.
Silence, you are mistaken.
The guard calls back. The old man grabs the guard's sleeve and points into the open doorway.
Destiny's head.
The guard shouts.
What devil has done this? That one. You embrace the devil now.
The old man shrieks.
I saw this with my own eyes.
The guard's expression clouds for a moment, and then he shakes his head.
Your decrepit eyes deceive you,
He says to the old man. He then looks at you.
my good man. Find help. I will search nearby for the villain.
It is uncertain how long your charm spell will last, and so you rush down the stairs and out the front door. When you are some distance from the inn, you stop to rest. What did that old fool see? You wonder to yourself. He did not see me. I would sooner cut off my tongue than murder a friend. But that man was so sincere. Could I have been bewitched? Or perhaps an illusion of me was cast? You realize that for the moment it does not matter. Your charm spell will wear off soon enough, and then you will be the primary suspect, perhaps the only suspect. Medieval justice is swift, and usually not well thought out. If caught, you could very well be dancing at the end of a rope by breakfast. The general alarm has not been sounded. You might be able to escape the city if you run for the outer wall gate now. But what then? You know this city far better than anywhere else, and running would only implicate you further. What do you do? 1, 2, trace, guys. 3 options. We could run for the gates, and consequently the hills, I assume. Run for the hills, head for the hills. We could disguise ourselves. Or we could just turn ourselves in. I'm going to be very surprised if anybody votes for the third thing. Hey, Icy is here. Welcome, hon. Ahoy indeed. Looks like the prevailing currents are blowing towards disguise yourself, so that's what we're gonna do. I will not leave the city until I have found Reginald's murderer. And to hide in the city, one must hide in plain sight, you think to yourself. You know a simple illusion that you can use to make you appear as someone else. On the other hand, there is a bazaar nearby with clothing stalls. For a little gold, you can buy a cloak or something else to conceal you on this rainy day. Do you want to hide yourself? How do you want to hide yourself, I should ask? Alright, options 1 or 2, guys. I'm pretty sure there is a clear right and wrong option here. If you know a little bit about 5e or D&D in general, I think it has given you the clue you need. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. No, but 22 gold? That's something. Everybody's saying buy a disguise. I think that is the correct option. They made a point of saying it's a rainy day. Illusions do not hold up to physical inspection, guys. I feel like that is the smart choice. I feel like that is really the smart choice. Hope I'm right. You trot down a quiet alley and wash Reginald's blood off your hands and arms in a dark rain puddle, although this does nothing for your stained tunic. You then hustle down towards the bazaar in the middle of town. You quickly find a weaver's booth and spot a long green cloak with a large cowl hood. Perfect to hide under. How much? You ask, pointing at the cloak. Ah, the adventurer! You flatter me by visiting my humble stall. The merchant bows with a smile. Neville, scat! It's Barnable! You realize with shock. You were so focused on the cloak you did not bother to look at the merchant. You do your best to smile casually. A good cloak for this damp weather. How much? Ah, yes, fine fabric, and heavy, too. A bargain at 2 gold coins. Barnable bows again. Outrageous, you think. However, you are in a hurry. The sooner you have that hood concealing your face, the better. On the other hand, everyone haggles for the best price at the market. What do you do? Option 1. Fork over that there coin. Option 2. Haggle a little bit. Just a little bit. Hey, Cold Rolled Steel rolling in, along with G-Dubs. What's poppin'? We're doing a little Choose Your Own Adventure. There is a poll at the top of the chat there, and we are allowing y'all to make all the choices and to choose your own adventure. We just got through Chapter 1, and we're heading for what I imagine will be the next checkpoint before we call it for the evening. How much trouble we got into? Look, we passed the first chapter with flying colors with a unprecedentedly high score. So collectively, y'all are geniuses. Yeah, unicorn died. I don't think there was any saving that unicorn. We did what we could do. All right. If you have not yet voted in our little poll, I know a couple new people have showed up. Feel very welcome to vote in our poll. It is at the top of the chat. Wherever you have it. So far, the prevailing current is to just hand the man our money. We worked hard for that money. Of course, we got a lot of it nowadays. Yep, even more votes going towards forking the coin over. So, that's the path we shall choose. I'll take it, you say. Barnable smiles broadly. You immediately put on your new cloak and quickly disappear into the crowd. In the distance, you can hear the clang of the alarm bell. Your stomach wrenches. You want to get out of this part of town, but unfortunately, Barnable knows what you are wearing. Should you buy another cloak from another stall? Or just get out of here? What do you do? Well, what an inconvenient circumstance that we ran into a guy we know. If we hadn't just not murdered Reginald, we'd probably be thinking clearer. This should be an easy choice, guys. Buy another cloak, or just GTFO. I think I closed it too quickly. I did close it too quickly. Doing it again. This Barnable character. Well, they've got to die. No loose ends. No loose ends. Ooh, this one's kind of split. If you haven't voted in the poll yet, there's time. You could tie it up, or you could make the difference. Right now, prevailing winds say that we're going to leave the market. Is Barnable a snitch? Barnable sounds like a snitch. Maybe that's just me imposing it. Alright. We're getting out of here. You decide there is no time to lose. You need to get into another neighborhood as quickly as you can. You hurry into the bustling streets of Ring City. Gods, I am hunted in my own city. Again, it occurs to you to escape the city. Outside these walls you are not known, and there is a whole world in which to hide. But what of Reginald's murderer, you wonder? The bloody runes around Reginald's body were in Infernal, the language of nightmare worlds. You cannot read Infernal well, but it appears to be a spell that harvests power from someone's soul. Neville, scat! Has Reginald's soul been crushed before it could pass into the next world? It enrages you to think that such a fate worse than death, could have befallen such a good man. I will find whoever did this and slay him. Certainly the Soul Crusher is in the city. Where better a place to harvest souls? As you continue to walk with no particular destination, your mind races to think of how you can track down this killer. The last time you saw Reginald alive, Kiba was with him. It is unfathomable to you that the young candle merchant's daughter could have done such a vile thing herself. However, she may remember something, or someone, before she left him. If you can reach her before news of your renegade status spreads, you should get easy access to her. As you are deciding the fastest route to Kiva's candle shop, there is commotion behind you as two guards, mounted on horses, yell warnings as they gallop along the busy road. The citizens of the city are accustomed to this and know to press their bodies against the buildings in order to avoid being trampled. You do the same. One rider speeds past you and out of sight. The other slows his mount and appears to be checking people along the walls.
Look at me!
He demands one man about 50 meters away. The suspect is wearing a long green cloak, just as you are.
I am the captain now.
Did Barnable tell him what I wear? It is possible. It is typical for a town crier to quickly spread fugitive information, and Barnable's stall is near the inn. Well, you're not just going to stand here against the wall waiting to be caught. You walk, as nonchalantly as you can, up the opening of an alley.
You there! Stop!
Of all the bad luck. You run into the alley. It is narrow, but not narrow enough, for you soon hear the hoofbeats of the guard's charger behind. What do you do? Ooh, we got spicy options now, y'all. We on the lamb. We on the sheepish lamb. 3 options. Firebolt Guard. Cast Sleep or an Illusion. Attack the man, hit the snooze button, or try and trick him. How did the charming go? It bought us time, Eric. It bought us time. Illusion. Illusion? Ah, Illusion. Yes. Ooh. Okay. Which one of you murder hobos wanted to firebolt the guard? Come on. An illusion be a bad idea since the rain. We brought it up earlier. Is it still true? We got 2 votes for illusion, 2 votes for sleep. It is pricey. That's 4 mana. And 1 vote from Dabs to firebolt the guard. Shame on you. Alright, we seem to be split between those last 2 guys. I'm gonna roll a die if nobody comes and breaks the tie here in the next couple seconds. Low, we do 2. Oops, there went my... There we go. Low, we do 2. High, we do 3. That's low again. This is why I don't play with these dice. Oh, look, there was a 3rd vote after all for the thing I rolled anyway, so we're casting sleep. You turn and cast the sleep spell. The rider slumps over as the horse slows to a walk, and then lays down as best he can in the narrow alley, falling asleep too. Well, despite this memorable side adventure, you still feel you need to pay Kiva a visit to learn what she knows of Reginald's last minutes alive. The candle shop is nearby, and soon you are standing before a wooden sign, painted not with words, but with pictures of candles. After all, few can read in the Ring City. Or at least, few in this neighborhood. Peering through the window, you see a tall man facing the shop door, hunched over a table, pouring something. Wax, probably. You decide to chance going around the shop to try to see in. The alley between buildings is extremely narrow, and you have to turn sideways to fit through. There are few metal barred windows around the sides and back, enough to let in light despite only providing a view of the neighbor's wall. Unfortunately, the windows are too high to see through. You are looking around for something to stand on for a boost when you hear crying. You know that crying. It's the same sob and whine you heard back at Castle Inverness when you found Kiva chained up. You sidestep your way along the alley a few meters and then listen, repeating this process until you think you can tell which window the sobbing is coming from. You are about to call out when you hear,
You! This is not a road. Off with you!
an old woman hisses from a neighbor's window. You decide she's right. This is no place to be skulking around, attracting attention. It's time to talk to Kiva. What do you do? Alright, guys. 1, 2, 3. Option 1. Sneak past the Candlemaker. We are not awful at stealth. We're generally competent at doing the things that these things say. Like, there's no rolls, right? It's all circumstance. And we aren't dressed in anything clanky and clattery like Reginald was. We could ask the Candlemaker to let us see Kiva. Or we could charm the Candlemaker. That does have an expiration date, but it has worked well in the past. Just depends on how appropriate you think it is for this situation. 1, 2, or 3. Poll at the top of the chat, folks. Lower votes than normal, but they are unanimous. Say we should talk to the candlemaker. So that's what we're gonna do. Whoa! Okay, someone voted. Someone voted for sneaky. Still, talking to the candlemaker has the majority, so off we go. Certainly no one yet knows I am hunted, you assure yourself. You walk into the front door and approach the candlemaker. Good sir,
Good sir.
I humbly request to see Kiva. The candlemaker looks up from his work, his eyebrows raised slightly. I am her brother Jacob, and who might you be? What do you do? Alright, we can admit to who we are, we can lie about it. Might cause us trouble down the road if he knows who we are, but if he doesn't know that we're here for bad, like we're wanted, then we're just the man who saved his sister. So, we shall see, we shall see. And why is she crying back there? Is everything okay? Things were not okay with Reginald. Option 1, say who you are. Option 2, lie. How did Reginald die? We all got blackout drunk, icy, and when we came to, we were standing over Reginald's corpse with blood on our hands. And, like, crazy infernal symbols drawn all around him. So it looks bad, and some old man is certain he saw us kill him. So, there's that. Yes, please rip, Reginald. We think his soul might be crushed, so he's probably not resting in anything, but if you get to in anything, rip. Alright. Poll time says we're just gonna fess up. Say who he is. We're super honest! Good for you. How's that working out for you? Well, we got a free point. You pull off your hood and tell him your name. My sister's rescuer! He exclaims, dropping his work. He comes over and embraces you warmly. He then thanks you over and over until finally you put up a hand and say, She is a good woman, and it warms my heart to have aided her. If you please, I am anxious to see how she fares now. Ah, yes, of course. I believe I noticed her thin shadow past me earlier as I toiled. Perhaps she rests in her chamber. He begins walking to a door.
No, I insist I do not disturb your work. Please, allow me to private counsel with her. I will not be long.
He smiles conspiratorially. That is a hard word to say. Yes, yes. I'm sure she will receive you warmly. Her chamber is at the end of the hall. Following his directions, you find her door and listen. Kiva is still crying. You knock softly.
Jacob, leave me be.
You hear the plaintive voice from inside. The door is unlocked and you slip inside. Kiva is sitting on the bed, rocking back and forth. Her hands and arms are soaked in gore.
Gods!
You gasp. She looks up at you, eyes swollen with tears.
You!
She exclaims. All this blood. Could she be Reginald's killer? There might be more to this woman than you know. If she did kill Reginald, you may be about to die yourself. What do you do? Ooh. This one's an important one, guys. This isn't no buy a second cloak kind of decision. This is important. So, what do? Got 1, 2, 3. Calm her. Charm her, which seems to be our signature move at this point. Or subdue her. I have strong opinions. I wonder if y'all agree. Poll at the top of the chat. Wow, lots of people came in to vote for this one, and it was unanimous for calming her until someone came in with subdue her. Sprinkle correctly notes, charm her is our I cast fireball, or I cast magic missile into the darkness. Yeah, it is pretty much our Eldritch Blast. It's our, you know, it's our go-to. Well, I don't think anyone is going to change that 4-point lead, so we're going to try and calm her.
Kiba, Kiba, all is well.
You say, as reassuringly as you can.
Not well. Not well.
She sobs.
Stay away. Cursed by the gods.
Be calm now. You say, as you study her stained arms and dress. Normally you would sit and comfort such a person, but you are afraid. As it is now, she is sitting and you have the advantage, if it should come to a fight.
What have I done? What have you done?
She asks with wild eyes.
Do you not know, Kiba? Kiba, do you not know what you have done?
You keep using her name, hoping that this will somehow soothe her.
I cannot remember. Reginald, do you remember the last time you saw him? At the inn. You hurt him. You are such a good man. Why did you hurt him?
She asks you.
I could not. Why is your dress stained so?
You ask.
I was running away from the inn, and there was a voice, an awful voice in my soul.
She then cups her hands and wails.
I cannot remember.
Soon you hear footsteps from the hall. No doubt her brother. What will he do when he sees you in here like this? What do? We can stop him in the hall, head him off at the pass. Or we can cover her in a blanket. Option 1, option 2, binary choice. Cold Rolled Steel says, hey, everybody needs to have a hobby. Ours just happens to be casting charm. Yes, we are quite the charmer. Charmer? I hardly know her. That's a bad joke. Let's see. Lots of love for covering her with a blanket. Alright, I trust you all. Let's do it. Life decreases. Oh no. You hurry over and pull the brown blanket from her bed and wrap it around her bloody body, just as the door opens. I heard shouting. What is the matter? The brother shouts.
Oh,
She's sick. She has the fever. You lie. Gods, no. She does not look well.
go. As you love her, find a healer. Find a healer.
You command. Her brother looks uncertain.
I will tend her. Go!
He leaves. You put your arm around her. Only then do you notice how much Kiba is trembling. You tighten your grip around her.
Did you kill him? Did you kill Reginald?
You ask. Kiba cries out as though in pain, squirms for a second, and then is still.
You must run now.
She says in a husky voice unlike her own.
Run and hide, little rabbit.
What?
You stammer.
They will hang you if they catch you. Do you wish to die, little rabbit?
You draw your dagger, but some unseen force suddenly hurls you across the room to strike the wall. Kiba is now standing, smiling at you menacingly. What do you do? Cold Rolled Steel correctly notes, us? Why? We're super honest. We got an achievement for it. Yeah, what? No.
No.
Alright, new poll though. What do? Option 1, question her. Option 2, hit her with Firebolt because hit her with Firebolt. Option 3, run. Tab says, you know my vote. I reckon I do. Aw, come on, guys. We lost one friend today already. Let's not lose our only other one. Time to grab some dinner. Alright, you have a good one, Cold. So y'all are gonna try and firebolt her ass, aren't y'all? I know! Running is the popular vote. Okay. Reason! Alright. Harsh voices tell us to run, we run. You don't know what has come over Kiba, but you don't readily see how killing her will make anything better. At the same time, sticking around here to receive further pummeling does not seem to profitable either. Best to follow Kiba's advice and run. Out of the shop and down to the street you go. You eventually stop in an alley to rest and gather your thoughts. It seems evident that Kiba was possessed by something. But what? And why? Was she the instrument of Reginald's murder? At home you have expensive and rare books on the mystical and arcane. In those pages might lie the answers. In addition, your spellbooks and the majority of your gold are there. Few know where you live, as you have always kept your squalid little loft a secret, for fear of someone stealing your books. If I'm lucky, the city guard will not know where I sleep. I may as well have a look. You make the trek across town to your neighborhood. Rather than immediately creep into the alley and climb up the crumbling wall to the roof to access your loft as you normally do, you decide instead to walk first around the block. As you pass the alley entrance, you see the flash of metal. A guard. You turn away and keep walking, your head bent low to allow your hood to shield you. Across the street, you slip into another alley, and then climb up a wall you scaled many times as a boy. Carefully, you peek over the rooftop down at your apartment and the alley accessing it. There are two guards walking aside a man in a long gray robe. That is Uxiul, the seer. Seers like Uxiul are adept at using their crystal balls to spy, called scry, upon beings. You know that the city authority often employs seers to track down fugitives. Fugitives like me, you think. In Uxiul's hand there is something. Your prized spellbook. Even from this distance, the red leather binding is unmistakable. One of the guards carries a sack filled with something. More of your possessions, no doubt. I have a home no longer, you realize. It is depressing that they found your valuables so quickly. All 242 of your remaining gold coins from the last adventure, likely in the hands of these rapscallions. That is not what the paragraph said. Considering the pains you took to disguise the secret compartment under the floorboards. Worse than losing your things is the thought of why they went through the trouble to find them and haul them off. Uxul will use my book to scry upon me. Scrying spells that allow one to spy on another from a distance, usually require a possession of the target. The more dear the possession, the easier it is to track down the person the item belongs to. Uxul is hardly the most powerful seer in the city, nevertheless he will certainly have no problem finding you if he uses your red book, given the countless hours you have spent studying it. One guard turns back down the alley in the direction of your loft. They have brought a ladder to access it. The other guard, whom you now recognize as William of Drakmoor, from the outer ring, remains with Uxul, who is walking slowly down the street while inspecting your book. You do not know either of the men well. However, you are fairly certain that Uxul knows only divination spells, nothing that would harm you directly. William, on the other hand, is a disciplined and skilled soldier. Despite William, you decide you must get that book back. If you don't, you'll be caught soon anyway. William remains close to his charge and appears vigilant. They are nearing Baby Dragon Square, a busy intersection of the city. You scramble off the roof and hurry after them. What do you do? What, there's no charm option? There's no charm option? A firebolt option? Why now do we have illusions and pickpocketing and thievery? But here we go. We have a choice to make. We need that book back. Oh, my boogie back, boogie back, boogie back. Baby back. Anyway. Poll at the top of the chat. We can be a book snatcher, or we can be an illusion caster. Lose one friend, lose all friends, lose yourself. That's grim, dabs. But apropos. Lots of love for just snatching the book. So I think that will be the way we go. I like maintaining mana. We so rarely get it back. Oh, no! Ah! Life decreases 3. I have a limited amount of that, and I need it to live. The crowd is thick in Baby Dragon Square. And how hard can it be to take a book from old Uxul? That's what I said, right? Uxul? Yeah. With your head down low and the cowl of your cloak shadowing your face, you make your approach. Weaving between pedestrians, your eyes locked on the prize. You're no pickpocket. So you figure the best approach is an old-fashioned snatch and grab. Unfortunately, William sees you coming, as is evident by the flash of steel in the corner of your eye, as you grasp the book and yank. Uxul bellows, and then you turn to run with your precious book under your arm. You only get a step away before you feel a sharp pain as the tip of William's sword slices deep across your back. Had you been farther in his reach, that blow would have cut you in half. William, having swung his sword, is now a few steps behind, and with his armor weighing him down, you are soon able to lose him in the evening crowd. As you hunch over, panting to catch your breath, you consider your next move. It will not take them long to realize what just happened, if they have not already. At least by denying Uxul the Seer your most dear possession, it will take him longer to find you. Nevertheless, he will still eventually locate your soul's energy. He still has the rest of your possessions, and although your soul's imprint on those items is more dispersed than on your spellbook, he will still have enough to eventually track you. I am not the only fugitive in this city. There must be a way to thwart the Seers, you think. Although known as adventurous and even reckless at times, you have always been more or less law-abiding. You know little about the underground of Ring City. You know little about how the underground of Ring City functions. Perhaps now would be a good time to learn more. There's only one person you know who might help you. A girl you grew up with named Mala. She is a woman now, working in a brothel in one of the seediest districts of the city. She is no criminal herself, however as a girl she was always inquisitive and talkative. Given the reputation of her neighborhood, you are certain she will know an outlaw or two. Another option is to go back and try to kill Uxul. But he is guarded, and murdering someone of importance in broad daylight, even in this dodgy neighborhood, is beyond dangerous. No matter what, you feel you must do something to keep hidden. What do you do? You can go talk to Mala. You can go try to kill Uxul. Let's start a new poll. Really seems to be discouraging, that second option. You think they're trying to lead us down the wrong path? Or you think they're trying to guide us down the right one? Kill an old seer who's doing his job? They have more seers? Will they just assign another one to us? Will that take time? More time than talking to Mala and finding a way to hide? Dabs just wants death. If not for others, then for ourselves. There are 5 votes in. 2 of them are for killing an old man, and 1 of them is for talking to a prostitute. Alright, it looks like talking to our childhood friend is gonna take it. Maybe she'll be able to heal us somehow. It disturbs you that the thought of murdering Uxul even crossed your mind. He's merely carrying out his duty. Not only would such a move make you a real murderer, the killing would be senseless. Dabs, Eric. After all, they would only hire another seer to find you, likely a more powerful one. Unfortunately, talking to Mala will not be a trivial task either. You will have to get through the wall between the middle ring, where you are now, to the outer ring, where Mala's brothel is. Now might be a good time to tell you a bit more about the city you grew up in. Ring City is so named because it consists of 3 circular walls inside one another, like the rings on a tree stump. The first wall, the inner ring, was built when the city was born. Back then, the city, a town really, was commonly known as Hell's Gate. The wall was built to defend her residents from the brutal giants of Landas, who lived in the forest and mountains nearby. As the population grew and the wall could no longer contain the residents, another wall ringing the previous one was built. In the next century, yet another wall was built outside the second one, as the giants were driven away and replaced with the savage northern barbarians, who in turn were replaced by the voracious goblin hordes. The two inner walls, besides providing additional layers of protection, also divides the city into three distinct social strata. The inner circle, the smallest by far, is reserved for nobility and their servants. The second circle, or the middle ring, as it is so called, is where the well-to-do commoners live, along with successful merchants, skilled masters, wealthy craftsmen, and the like. Finally, the outer ring, the largest of the three, is for the rest. Many of the men in the outer ring are miners who toil in the gold and silver mines of the nearby mountains. To ensure that citizens do not frequent rings outside their status without good cause, all the inner walls have gates which are monitored by guards. Fortunately, you are passing from the middle ring to the outer ring, which is to say that you are going from a better neighborhood into a lesser one. So the wall guards are not likely to scrutinize you too much. After all, they can presume you're a good citizen to have come from the second ring, and if you want to slum about in the outer ring, then that is your business. Still, you are a wanted man, and you cannot use your illusions or charms to pass through, because every gate has an anti-magic field around it to prevent such chicanery. Although it takes a great deal of walking, you go ahead and scout all three gates. Each has a single guard. You know all of them. Reginald was once a guard himself, so through him you know most of the city guards, at least by reputation. The first gate is manned by Flausen, an honest and dedicated man who is an old friend of yours. The second is manned by Tawn. Reginald hated Tawn because he believed he was dishonest and corrupt. On the other hand, Tawn might be someone you could bribe. The third gate is manned by Salaphus, who is neither noble nor corrupt, but merely incompetent. Which god do you try to get past? Whoo! This is a choice. This would cause 35 minutes of debate in an actual D&D game, and I'm going to give you all about 60 seconds to make up your minds as to which you think is good. Do you want to go see a buddy? A noble person with whom you may have some clout? Do you want to see an untrustworthy sort who could maybe be persuaded to help us out? Or do you want to go to a guy who's not very good at his job? That could go either way. Poll at the top of the chat. Vote the way that you want us to go. So far, nobody wants to risk bribing the corrupt fellow, and we are tied between Flausen and Salaphus. Alright, next one I see move. That's the one we do. And there it is. We're going to our honest friend. Hey, Trixie, how's it going? Long time no see. I like that little Pikachu gif. Here we go. Oh no, life decreases. I need that. Flausen is an old friend. Surely he cannot believe I am guilty, you reason. From the shadows of the narrow alley, you watch the gate that Flausen is guarding. Your old friend is every bit the huge medieval warrior. He is absurdly muscular with a square jaw and penetrating blue eyes. It is raining softly, and many people going through the gate have hats on or hoods up. Flausen politely asks these people to lower their hoods so they can have a look at them. He smiles pleasantly at everyone, greeting many by name. Eventually, you see a lull in the crowd and take your chance. You head straight at Flausen, with your head low and your hood up.
Please lower your hood, sir.
Flausen says. You look up and give him a sad smile. His eyes widen as he stutters your name.
You. I must arrest you. I am sorry.
He says.
Good Flausen, you know well I could never harm Reginald. By the gods, please allow me to pass.
Sorry. Coming up with all the random NPC voices is cracking me up.
I cannot honorably do so. I am bound to uphold the law as is my oath to my lord. You ought to be arrested, though it pains me to do so.
You know Flausen's look of resolve when you see it. Well, you don't want to fight him, but you've always been able to outrun him.
It pains me as well,
You say as you run past him through the gate. You don't get far before you feel a very nasty pain and nearly fall. There's a dagger sticking into the back of your leg. You forgot how good Flausen is at throwing knives. He meant to hit you there. Just something to slow, not to kill. Nevertheless, Flausen underestimates how badly you don't want to get caught, and although it feels like burning fire in your leg, you pull the dagger out and keep running. At some point you lose him in the winding alleys of the outer ring, at which point you collapse from exhaustion and pain. After bandaging your wound, you move on to find Mala. We're going to see our childhood friend with a back sliced up by that William guy, and now our leg stabbed into by that Flausen guy. Gonna be her bloody good friend. Finally, you enter the New Gate neighborhood, a shorter and more pleasant name for New Hell's Gate. This is where Mala's brothel is. You now quicken your pace and lean forward like a charging bull. You take care not to look up at anyone, and fortunately the hood concealing your face is perfectly normal here. Even during the daytime in New Gate, it's safest to travel with a gang. Alone, the best you can do is move quickly and with purpose. You make it to the brothel without incident. It is one of the few well-maintained buildings in the area. It has a fresh paint job of bright red. You are not sure whether news of your fugitive status has reached this neighborhood yet, but you decide it would be unwise to simply walk in and announce yourself. You could either keep your head down, as you have been, and rely on your cloak to disguise you, or you could use an illusion to pose as someone else. Darkanel, an acquaintance of yours who works in the docks district, has told you more than once how much he likes this brothel. We can rely on our cloak, or we can pose as Darkanel, which sounds like Gargamel to me, and is now making me think of the Smurfs. 1 or 2, guys. 1 or 2. Welcome back, Hawk. When did Nandor the Relentless show up? Nandor the Relentless is good. I like that guy. Almost as good as Jackie Daytona. Love that guy. I did not say GIF, I said GIF. The right way. This one's close. Hopefully, soon I will not be able to cosplay Jackie Daytona well. Lose the belly a little bit is the idea. Right now, people are wanting to pose as Darkanel, which is going to be hilarious if he is already inside. So we're going to try that. I did not imagine the Ringed City in my head as having a docks district. I imagined it as being farther inland. Alright. Here we go. There's a slight shimmering before your eyes as the illusion takes effect. Like the outside, the interior is brightly painted. The furnishings are very comfortable, with large, thick cushions on the chairs, a stark contrast to the simple furniture typical of Ring City homes. There are two men sitting in these chairs, one chatting and laughing softly with a woman, not Mala, and another man snoring loudly in a corner. On one end of the room is a table with a large washbowl and a wine bottle. Behind the table is a bald man who watches as you approach. I wish to, meet with Mala, you say to the man. Mala? Not Aliana? He asks with a wry smile. Obviously, he recognizes you as Darkana. You shake your head awkwardly, and eventually the two of you settle on 2 gold, after which you are ushered to sit. Despite the plush chair, you squirm uncomfortably. Is it normal to wait, you wonder? Could the city guards be could the city guards be on the way? You tell yourself that you are being paranoid and that Mala is simply with another customer. Just then, the illusion begins to flicker. Drat. You pull your hood up before your face collapses back into its native form. There you sit, staring at the floor for what seems like forever. Finally, you hear footsteps and look up slightly to see Mala walking toward you. She is pretty. Prettier than you remember her. She has a great deal of makeup on and is covered in jewelry. Her jade earrings click as she strides toward you with a smile. You bow and meet her halfway while motioning toward the open door behind her. She gets the hint and leads you out of the waiting room and through a series of halls and stairs to a long room with beds partitioned off from one another by thin drapes. There is movement and voices throughout the room.
Somewhere more private?
You ask.
There is no...
2 gold extra for a room? You pull out 2 gold coins, which she takes and nods. She takes you up another flight of stairs and knocks on a door. There is yelling, followed by hushed voices. You see the blur of a man and woman quickly vacating the room.
Shy and generous. I like that.
Mala says, when you are in the bedroom alone. You are quiet as you think of what to say. Her eyes shift nervously, and she points to your cloak.
We are not going to want that on.
What do you do? Reveal yourself or keep the cloak on, honey? The boots stay on. The It's Not Ogre Till It's Ogre Shrek shirt stays on. Don't know what to tell you. Non-negotiable. Hey, people contributing to our homebrew magic item thingy. We already earned a second magic item that's going into our campaign Monday. So that y'all are chewing through them a little quickly, so I put this one up a little bit. I don't need a custom magic item every session. I like coming up with them, but this level 3 party is gonna get OP quick if I keep doing stuff like that. And I don't usually like to take away items or steal them or whatnot. And I like the characters to be cool, not just the items, you know, so we're gonna try and stem the flow of y'all's generosity a little bit. When did we get up to 724 followers? That is awesome. Alright, what are y'all thinking? We want to reveal ourselves. Ho ho. Alright. Let's show her what we got. Mala's eyes widen as you remove your hood. She then hugs you and then commences to bombard you with questions. The two of you laugh as you trade a few stories from your shared childhood past.
And what have you then?
She asks.
I heard tell that you and Reginald had been off hunting goblins, or some other such recklessness.
Reginald, he is dead. Murdered.
Mala gasps and sits down on the bed.
Some believe I murdered him. By the gods, I did not. Could not.
Mala shakes her head.
Impossible. He was a brother to you.
Indeed. Nevertheless, now I am hunted like a rabid beast, and I need your help. Only information.
Mala looks at you uncertainly.
They use a seer to track me. I need protection from this. There are men in World's End who have such protection, else they would have hung long ago. I thought perhaps
I might know such men?
Mala finishes your sentence. She is silent for a moment.
Such information is... I want to help you, only... perhaps someone else could.
She stammers.
You must understand that such men would do awful things to me if they learned I spoke of them. And these are dark times. Some of the priests say that a great evil has awakened and now stalks our streets, conspiring with other rotten souls, growing stronger.
Mala has not survived in Newgate this long by blabbing about her criminal acquaintances. You believe you will have to do something to convince her. What do you do? Here we go again, guys. What do? Option 1. Grease her palm a lot. She's a friend. She's sticking her neck out for us. 15 gold would leave us with 1. We could charm her. An old friend. Cast magic on our old friend who wants to help us. But it would work. I bet. Or threaten her. I don't like that one. I don't like any of them. But it's not important what I like. It is important what y'all choose. No one is saying threaten her. That makes me have a little faith in y'all. Appreciate that. Ah, well, there we go. Did dabs show up? Threatening is the option that keeps all our mana and our money.
But at what cost? The cost of the friend.
This is as split as we have ever been. 2 for bribe her, 2 for threaten her, 3 for charm her. Looking like charm unless anything changes. Just because this is so split, I'm giving this an extra second or 2. Charm her it is. You and Mala have always been friends, and so charming her will not require as much mana as usual. You blow kisses into the air, speak the arcane word, and point to her. You know the spell works when she suddenly embraces you, squeezing hard and weeping for joy. You try to get her to tell you how to go about protecting yourself from the seers, but she continues to weep and give you wet kisses while murmuring about the old times, best times. Finally, you get her on track. Okay.
As a wizard, you must know that only magic can protect you from the Scrya's crystal ball.
There are charms, ordinary-looking items such as brass bracelets or even a golden tooth that would ward those who don't wish to be found.
Do you know where I could buy such a charm? You ask.
I do not know who sells such things. I know only of a man who wears one.
And that man is? You ask.
Mala hesitates for a moment.
He is known as Gorgon, although I assure you he is human.
Her eyes lower as she says this.
He has boasted to me of his warded charm, a worthless-looking copper ring that he wears on his right hand.
You have her tell you as much as she knows about Gorgon and his gang. Since you have rented a room with a bed, this might be a good place to rest and regain a measure of your strength. On the other hand, can you trust Mala? What about anyone else that knows you're here? What do you do? We can hurry to find Gorgon or rest. There we go. I'm gonna duck my face off of camera for a second here, while y'all pick. It's all bug. I was going to try and kill it, but it got away while I was narrating. Alright, what are we thinking here? Rest! Now, when that charm wears off, I wonder how she's going to feel about us. Let's find out. It's the kind of thing I would do to players.
Yes, rest, sleep,
Mala says, after you tell her your intention.
You are a battered and tired one. Allow me to quietly lie on the bed to keep you warm.
It really was for the information that you paid the gold, not the usual reasons money is exchanged in this place. Also, above all, you require a peaceful rest. Still, it is probably best to keep up appearances to the brothel owner, and besides, Mala has always been a friend, and you do not wish to insult her by kicking her out. She is true to her word on not disturbing you, and you find her cuddling warm and comforting as you drift off to sleep. A few hours later, as you prepare to leave, Mala hugs you again and kisses you on the cheek.
Gorgon is cruel and will kill you for no reason other than it pleases him. His henchmen are no better.
You nod, put your hood back up, and walk out the door. Checkpoint! We made it, guys! How about that? Well, we got 4 morale, 10 life. We've taken a beating. But we've hung on to the bulk of our gold, and most of our mana as well. We are past 9 o'clock. That's our usual stream end time. I think for tonight we will go ahead and call it, and then maybe next time we play we can make it to the end of the chapter again. So we're in book 2 of Wizard's Choice. There are 5 books of Wizard's Choice. And a lot of this one was admittedly telling you about the Ringed City, but if we keep doing this in future weeks, All of the different adventures kind of take place in and around Ring City, so that knowledge will continue to be useful. So it's good setup. It's like the intro to any of my campaigns where I talk for 15 minutes about where you are before we actually have any fun. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it here for the night. So reminders before we're done. First of all, Monday night, charity stream, WRRAP. It will also be session 4, episode 4 of our Bleak Haven A Broken Heart D&D homebrew campaign with Tyler, Ellie, Crash, and Maddie, which should be oodles of fun. They have a lot of questions for Silverman, and Ty has mentioned one of the things that she really wants to do in this next session, and it should be illuminating. It is way sooner than I thought she would be doing that thing. Might have to give away some surprises a little early, like a lot early. So be sure you tune in for that one. Wednesday will be our giveaway day. All of our sub goals will need to be reached by Wednesday if we want to give away the set of dice I showed up at the beginning. If not, we're still drawing an individual winner for everything that we went through so far on the channel. A leather journal, a set of hollow dice, a set of gemstone dice, a mimic dice box, a leather tray, and whatever else is in that pile over there. I might forget to say something, but I have not forgotten to set it aside. And the next Wednesday, I will be at GalaxyCon Raleigh. We will probably still have a stream. It may be a little later than normal. It may be something a little more impromptu. I don't know if I'll be needed or if I can get away. Stay tuned to stuff for that. Thank you guys who hung out all the way to the end of the stream. Eric's been here since the beginning of the stream. Sheepy's been here since the beginning of the stream. Thank you for throwing in that link, Sheepy. Sarah's still here. Hawk's still here. Icy's still here. Rob's still here. Rob, hit me up after the stream if you're still listening. I don't know if you are. Thank you, Dabs. Confused Mind, when did you show up? Welcome. Glad you're here. Yeah, thank everybody for coming and hanging out with me on a Friday. We will continue with this story at another point if you're enjoying it. We will keep going. You guys are actually doing really stinking good. I died a lot when I played through these. I made bad decisions. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. In case you don't hear it anywhere else this week, I love you guys. And until next time, friends and adventurers, farewell and Godspeed. Have a great weekend.